You're listening to the Lamptey Show. My name is Joey, and you're joined by Paul.
All right, mate.
And by Dom.
Hello.
Happy summer, guys. Let's start with moments of the summer. Paul, why don't you kick us off?
We might as well just mention it. It's whether or not it's going to turn out to be a massive success. It probably is the signing of Bright, isn't it? I mean, none of the other signings have been solid enough, not really exciting. Bright is he's the card, isn't he? He's the what is he? What's he going to do? What's he going to bring? How much is he going to play? When's he going to be fit? And also,
when's he going to go to Germany without mentioning it?
Yeah. So, I mean, it's one of those things that I suppose the most surprising thing is now being, and I've got no sort of, I quite like Mason, but he's got another year. He's never, cemented first team. So he got a 3-year contract. We've still got Hilsner, who was on a 2-3-year contract. We've still got Gibello, who's on a 3-year contract. We've managed to get rid of Castanea because that came to an end. It's like it's given Bright a 2-year contract, and the worry is that we're just here a year time going, well, we've got another year of Bright. What's he going to do? It's not talent, and that's most of the signings you make, it's like, is he good enough? It's not talent. It's everything else, isn't it? It's application and making it work for him. And since he's left Cov, his career's basically been on hold for 3 years. And it's a massive opportunity for him. But, we've said that, people have been saying that about Balotelli, Raval Morrison, these players like Kevin Thornton had about 5 different chances. It's like these players get numerous chances, and how many ever really then fulfill their potential? And out of those players I just mentioned, none of them did. So it isn't a case of being worried about, like, is he going to be, when he plays, I'm sure when he plays, he'll do some brilliant things. The question is, how often does he play? What is he doing off the pitch? What's his disruption to the rest of the squad, which is a very sort of, get the feeling it's a very nice squad, but also very hard working. They're all sort of, get the feeling that there is a sort of community spirit within the squad. And now we've got someone who, the last time, when we did the podcast and we spoke to some of the players, they said that Bright basically did his own thing, which was fine in League One. And at the end of the second half of the season, where we didn't really try to achieve anything, survival is so critical. How disruptive is he going to be? How good is he going to be when he plays? How much of an impact is he going to be? How much of a risk is it?
I would say not that much of a risk, because I'd be willing to bet that he is on low wages.
Yeah, but I don't think that money-wise, I don't think it's an issue. It's just if you've got someone who's not turning up for team meetings, not paying attention to the sort of way that the team's trying to be run, what happens when other players
put it this way,
seeing that as well?
If we had a football team, you lot wouldn't care if I didn't turn up to team meetings. Do you know what I mean? Quality wise, if I wasn't, what I'm saying is, I wouldn't be a big part of the team, would I? I'm not the guy. Whereas I feel like Neil might be quite handy. Then you'd probably be a bit annoyed. But if you've got someone who's not being paid a lot and on the fringes of the squad who wants to piss off and go and do whatever he wants to do, I bet you wouldn't be that bothered. So I agree with you. I hope he comes in, has a big, explosive impact, be it as a first teamer or off the bench. But I think if he doesn't, then he just is Castanea, isn't he?
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah, but in a season where we need to kick on, is it?
And that's a separate thing. Could we have got, or should we, or did we have to get someone who might be a more of a certainty than just he's on low wages and he might, if he's rubbish, it doesn't matter to him.
Well, I mean, that's the thing, isn't it? I mean, sort of going slightly off topic, but it's probably a topic worth sort of raising. It's basically, we knew that we needed assistance for Callum O'Hare at the end of last season. It was clear, the whole of last season, that we needed someone else who could play in those attacking 2 roles. And the 2 players we've got, well, sort of you could claim are new players on top of Jordan Shipley, who's been retained. The 2 new players we've got who can play in that role behind the striker. One of them is Jody Jones, who we have no idea what he's going to be like. The last time he played consecutive games was in League 2, 4 years ago? And Bright, who the last time played competitive football for more than 5 games on the bounce was 3 years ago.
But do you not think that having Hilson is going to be like a new signing for us?
The man who hasn't even got a squad number.
Yeah, well, one of a number of players who haven't got a squad number. Dom, your moment of the summer, please.
Thank
Well,
you.
on Sunday I was back at the Ricoh, and it was actually, there was 2 moments that I found really emotional. One was just before the kickoff, where the players sort of came out and came to the stands, and you just like realised, oh, this is actually back, and this is real, and we've been missing this for the best part of 18 months, 2 years, depending on whether you went to Birmingham or not. I have to say the novelty of being back at the Ricoh wore off pretty quickly. I don't know whether it's the fact that it was a pre-season friendly, or that it's the second time this happened. I remember when we came back from Northampton and stepping into the Ricoh, I was just like, oh my god, this is an arena. This is a proper stadium where actual good football happens. And that contrast between Sixfields and the Ricoh, especially on a night when it was 30,000 odd there, that just felt like suddenly supporting a different football club. This just felt, oh yeah, I'm just back watching Coventry again. And within like 2 or 3 minutes, you have Wolves fans singing, "Your stadium's too big for you. Is this a library?" And it's like, oh yeah, this is actually what being back is like. And then the second emotional moment was seeing Jody Jones back out there, just on the pitch, just knowing everything he's gone through. That was the footballing moment of the summer for me.
How concerned are you by the return to the Coventry Building Society Arena? How, obviously, our form at the fucking Ricoh, because it's just easier and it's shorter, wasn't ever great, was it? I mean, it was, in the entire time we were at the Ricoh, one of the issues was that our home form was never that good. And then obviously our form at St Andrews, regardless of the rights or wrongs of being at St Andrews, our form at St Andrews was brilliant. For 2 seasons, it was brilliant. Like, basically, it's really hard to remember now. We didn't actually win away in the promotion season until, was it Boxing Day or the 28th of December or something?
Yeah, you're right. Yeah,
it was very. And we only lost. We lost once at home that season. That was against Tranmere.
Yeah.
Yeah. So our home form at St Andrews basically got us promoted, and then again very much kept us up, because again our away form was pretty bad last season. Now, it shouldn't be. The whole, we're going to play at the Ricoh, going to have more fun. I was like, I get all those arguments, but that's never been a catalyst for great home form in the past. Why we're not particularly good at the Ricoh, or haven't historically been very good at the Ricoh, is probably beyond my remit. But do you have any concerns that returning to the Ricoh could, not the detriment, not the sort of rights and wrongs of it, but are you slightly concerned that our home form might dip, or do you think that it's just an anomaly? This is a different set of players, and our home form in the last 2 years, there's no reason why it shouldn't continue?
To be honest, it hadn't really occurred to me until you just mentioned it. So shows sort of how much I've been thinking about it. I think on the one hand, yeah, it really shouldn't matter, because Mark Robbins has built a side over the past 2 years that has generally been good at home, even when that home wasn't technically home. And but on the other, it's just sort of the feeling you get from the Ricoh sometimes is that it's quite a nice place for away teams to go, where they have that stand basically right behind the goal, and we don't really have anything comparable, and it can sort of just create that atmosphere, almost like Milton Keynes is for us, where it's a place you really want to go and put on a show as an away team. But like I said, to be honest, I don't think it's going to be that much of a thing. If I'm really thinking about it.
What do you think, Paul?
I can't rationalise why I was just trying to dig it out earlier, and I couldn't, and I could probably do it myself, but I can't be asked. Is look at the stats over the last. Well, we've been there since 2005. I mean, to be fair, our home form at Highfield Road was never that great. Apart from we had a couple of seasons, infamously the season we didn't win away, but we still finished 12th. But our home form was always quite, we won as many as we lost at home. It always felt like that. Just the anomaly of going to St Andrews and being so good really did. Even I think the season at Sixfield, our home form was better than it had been like the seasons at the Ricoh either side. It is interesting why dynamically it's never really worked for us at the Ricoh. I think as Tom says, I think it is quite open at times. It can feel, even with 15,000 people there, it can feel very sparse. The Cov fans, even though they've tried to sort of make Singers Corner, we don't have a particularly raucous home fan, do we? I mean, it's we're not an intimidating group of set of supporters. But again, there are other clubs who don't have particularly intimidating sets of supporters who have good home form. I think we need to ideally get the ball rolling with Forest at home. It's quite a nice starter, and then obviously win that and take it from there. I think that the worry would be if we sort of start slowly at home, is getting fans back through the door. Obviously, we sell over 10,000 season tickets, but we don't want to be down to that core support quickly. We want to keep gates at around 15 to 20,000 as long as we can, and that can only be done with having a successful team at home.
I'll round things off with moment of the summer. I think. I mean, I'm not going to go for a Cov thing. I'm going to just completely throw that out the window and say the Euros for a start. Obviously, just all of it. And secondly, it was lovely that the three of us sort of fell ass backwards into watching most of the games together. That was just a lovely thing to do over the course of the summer, was to enjoy, enjoy football, which is very rare for the three of us to be able to do. And secondly, to enjoy it, together while it was happening was a lovely little thing that happened. But there we go. Right, we're going to sort of bat this off fairly quickly because, there's now about 800 podcasts, so you could probably go and find a better season preview somewhere else. but then
that's basically just reading Dom's review, isn't it?
I mean, this is the thing. Yeah, I mean,
if you want a decent review, read that and then come back in about an hour's time and listen to the rest of this dirge.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Paul, you've been asking questions on Twitter, haven't you? So, hit us with some preview questions.
Okay, we'll start with the bottom. Obviously, we have made a number of signings, but where do you think we need to strengthen? For instance, Charlie Harris says defence and maybe a keeper. Quite a lot of people, like Pilks, is saying that we have an Ostergaard side hole in the defence. Quite a few other people are saying centre back. A couple of people have said that maybe Drysdale could fill that hole. But Dom, where do you think we still need to strengthen?
I think centre back is a priority. I think looking at it, Ostergaard is obviously a blow that we've lost him, but in terms of the players we have, we've got Rose and Hyam, who can both probably fill that right side of the back three position. You've got McFadden, who ideally we sort of evolved beyond this year, but I just don't think we've quite got the capability to bring in someone who's just sort of that fearless leader in the centre of the back three. So, I mean, that is a concern, just sort of how slow that makes us at the back. That was definitely apparent against Wolves in the friendly. And I think the one area that we could really improve in that back three is getting someone who's properly left-footed to play on the left. I think that could give us a really good balance, and it looks like we might be getting someone to do that in Jake Clark-Salter from Chelsea, unknown, who's a left-footed centre-back, so that seems to fit quite nicely. And then beyond that, I think it's just how long is sort of Kelly going to be out for at the start of the season, and how much can we rely on him? And I think having another centre mid as a bit of a a safety blanket there. You can just add a bit of presence in the middle of the pitch. Again, going back to the Wolves run, I thought Hammer and Sheaf, as decent a job as they did, just worry at times that it gives that they will have a lot of work to do, and either of them could really benefit from someone who just offers a bit more sort of charisma in the middle of the pitch with presence and insurance in the way that Matty James did. So I think those would be the two biggest priorities for me, and probably centre back. Another centre mid would be nice to have, but it's not necessarily an absolute disaster if we don't get another one.
How good is Jake Clark-Salter? I've never really heard of it. He didn't play that often for Blues last season, did he? Like, he's 23. He's been on loan a couple of times, but just looking, okay, it's only the stats on Wikipedia, but he only played 12 times for Bristol Rovers, 11 times for Sunderland in the year they got relegated. He's been at Blues the last 2 seasons and only played a combined total of 29 games.
Yeah, it's a bit of a weird one in that his first loan spell at Birmingham 2 seasons ago was absolutely brilliant. Like, he was someone that people thought would probably be going to sort of a top end championship club, if not sort of the bottom end of the Premier League. He did really well, and then he came back last season. He started off injured and could never really get into the team after that. Maybe didn't quite fit Karanka's style. I think Clark-Salter is not necessarily sort of big physical kind of centre back. Sort of more mobile, wants to play on the ball a little bit more. Yeah, but he's someone who's had quite an interesting career of peaks and troughs. And I think probably Coventry City's kind of the right level for him right now. And he'd be an upgrade on who we have right at the moment.
Is he? Are we talking about that as a this is completely passed me by. Is this a loan or?
It sounds like a loan.
I suppose we haven't got the money for it.
It's a bit like, you know how Matthew Pennington was still at Everton at the age of 26, but still going on loan every season. It's a bit like that. He's 23.
I've just looked him up. Yeah, he's 23.
He's
and
nearly
in fact,
24.
He's nearly 24. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't think Chelsea are holding on to him for the fact that he might turn into a mega superstar. They're obviously just keep him contracts because they can't
just
afford
in case Thiago Silva doesn't make it, then he's waiting in the wings.
Yeah, in case they have 18 injuries at centre half, they've got this kid. Well, I say kid. This man.
he's the sort of youth prospect they're bringing in to help blood the younger players.
Joey, where do you still think we need to strengthen?
Well, I think you can't really only have one left-sided. You can't really have one left wing back. It's already quite a demanding position, isn't
We've got
it?
2.
In
The lad from Chelsea and the lad from Wraith Rovers, Falkirk.
Yeah, but isn't he 18 or 19? I don't think he's a realistic
Sam
option.
McCallum was 19.
Yeah, but he was also Sam McCallum, wasn't he? I don't get the impression that this lad is Sam McCallum. Unless I've missed something, my understanding is that we're not going into this season with him as the other left wing back, are we?
Scored against Nuneaton.
I'm sure. Look, I'm sure he could be fantastic. I'm talking from this, not from a point of judgment on him, just from an impression that I've got with the squad build-up. I had thought that we were probably still in the market for another left-sided player because he would be not quite ready yet.
No, I think that's fair enough. But I think on that sort of same premise, you could probably say we're still looking at probably 5 positions then.
Possibly, but I think that we have at least got. I mean, I would say I'm very worried about centre back, but for me it would be if we could bring one more player in and one more player alone, it would be a central midfielder, because I'm really excited by the idea that Ben Sheaf is now better than he was last season. That's great, but I'm not entirely sure whether with Kelly injured, like you were saying, Dom, Sheaf and Hamer or in the middle, as aggressive and ruthless as Hamer is, I'm not sure he's an out and out ball winner, recycler in the way that we would need him to be, and Sheaf isn't either really. I think the massive impact that Matty James had on us last season, I think, is the biggest backward step that we'll see the team make this season. Does that make sense?
It's I know you're not really into cricket. The thing with cricket is they always say if you look at the score and then add 2 wickets, like that's the sort of situation you could possibly in. And you look at Cov and you think, okay, what happens if Ben Sheaf gets injured? You've got
Well, yeah.
Eccles. If Hamer goes out, you've got Jamie Allen, the kid who's not the Welsh player who's played for Liverpool,
Yeah,
the one
Jamie
that we've
Allen.
got.
Yeah.
Or Shipley. It's just sort of with that. I agree with you. I think that the issue isn't really like with the fact we haven't placed, in a strange way, we haven't placed Matty James. We haven't replaced Ostergaard, and those two in the second half of the season were so crucial to our upturning form. And it's sort of, I know we've looked at Martin Craney, and it's like, I know you're a massive fan of Martin Craney, and I'm a big fan of Martin Craney. The issue I've got is the fact that there was points last season, and to some extent, I don't really think we've replaced Max Biamou either. Is we went into a bit of this last season where you had Ostergaard, who was very physical and dominant in midfield. You had Liam Kelly, who was physical in midfield. Ostergaard, very physical and dominant in defence. You had Kelly was physical in midfield, and you also had Biamou was an outlet who would win headers or make life difficult. And I get the feeling that I could be wrong. Dom could correct me on this. I don't think Waghorn's that player. So we seem to have lost quite a lot of physicality, but also Matty James, not in a Patrick Vieira bullying type way, but he wasn't someone who could be knocked off the ball. He was very good at using his physical attributes to retain the ball and to get himself around and make life difficult for the opposition, not in an aggressive way, but in a, I'm a 29-year-old man, I know what I'm doing type way. And that's where I think we're missing a bit. We are, throughout the team, we don't seem to have those physical presence anymore.
It's what you would hope Sheaf would grow up to be. Do you know what I mean? Without wanting to be dismissive of Sheaf. There's lots of different ways to be a defensive midfielder, and that you can either be Vincelo, an out-and-out tackly, ball winner, or you can, like you say, you can have character in the middle of the park, intercept at the right time, not give the ball away in stupid ways, use your body well. And I think that we haven't. It's a massive drop off in quality from. First, we were saying we would sign James. Then we were thinking that we would sign someone who was as close on quality to James. And now we're saying that we haven't even signed anyone. So I worry that that's a huge problem. What's next on your list, Paul?
Next question then is, who do you expecting to break through? So again, Eccles has been mentioned. Tavares, I'm assuming I'm saying that wrong, has been mentioned. Papaga has been mentioned. Drysdale. I mean,
we haven't even mentioned Reece Alasani yet.
Well, there's a reason for that. Who are we? Even Howley. Is that the young kid from Nuneaton?
I must confess, I have heard his name, but I haven't been able to keep track of what he is.
Dom.
I believe he's literally sort of just come through like the academy. I think he's only 17 years old, and he's been involved a fair bit in pre-season. I saw him against Wolves on Sunday. I think he touched the ball twice. He does look rather tall for a 17-year-old.
Are you suggesting that he might be older than 17?
I like the fact it's like he touched the ball twice. Now I'm just going to comment on his height.
It's just your suspicion there sounded like you were trying to refuse him entry, or like he was trying to order off the child's menu.
No, he's someone with very much the face of a 17-year-old on a 25-year-old's body.
Okay. Fair play to him.
But didn't do Rooney any harm, did it?
No. I'm going to hope to say that the breakthrough player this season is Jody Jones, I suppose. That would be fabulous, wouldn't it? I know that that's a silly answer because of who he is, but that, he could, in theory, he could come in this season. You'd be like, oh, you are capable of playing the Championship. That would be lovely, wouldn't it?
Yes, I mean that would be a great story to tell. I saw a rumour earlier that they're looking for him to be loaned out until January, which is basically what I've been saying for the last 18 months every time. But I think that's exactly what I would do with him. because I've said that for the last 18 months. But it makes sense to me. But I think we'd all like to see him get a chance at some point. And
I think more than anything, what I would like to see is for him to get a chance at being able to finish off his career, whether that's with us or with someone else. Because you get the impression that he's had every knockback it's possible to have, and he's worked really hard and fought really hard. And it's, cosmically unjust if he had to retire at 24, 25. I'm hoping, ideally, that he's going to be brilliant and he plays for us. I sort of think more widely. I just hope he gets to carry on playing football.
cool.
I suppose this isn't the
This isn't that, yeah.
the
You've answered a
the
different
benevolent
question.
career podcast.
Tom, who's going to break through? Put Joey out of his misery.
I'm going to go for Josh Eccles because whenever I saw him play last year, he looked very good. He looked very calm and composed, and he could possibly be an answer in midfield that we want. Although I have heard that he might currently be injured for a month or two.
Oh, great.
Which is annoying.
Can I change my answer to Josh Eccles?
No,
Sure.
No, it's my game. You do what I say. All right. Next question. Who are you most excited to see? And these are obviously people would like to see Harmer because no one's seen him in the flesh. O'Hare, Bright, obviously, he's come up quite a few times.
We know who's in the squad. You don't need to give us a rundown of players that play for us.
What someone's just put the outside world.
Yeah, that's nice. Dom, who would you go for?
It's got to be Bright, isn't it? He's just a lot of fun, and because we're fans and we don't have to deal with him on a day-to-day basis, we can just enjoy someone who dances through defenses and does ridiculous things. I was watching some highlights of his on YouTube recently, and there was one I completely missed at a game I was at. It was Peterborough away, where he's just standing up a defender by the corner flag and puts his hand on his knee just to completely rinse this defender out, take the mickey out of him. And I don't remember too many Coventry City players who'd have the gall to do that. Over the past few years, it's going to be fun. And I suppose we discussed this earlier, but I suppose he's not necessarily in a make or break position. He's nice to have, and if he only was just someone who'd come on in the last 30 minutes and just do crazy things, just get defenders on the turn, I think that could be very exciting in and of itself.
For me, very quickly, I'd say Gyökeres, just because I think it's really difficult to gauge a player when you see them on telly alone, and I can't quite work him out. But we've paid £1 million for him, and I think he must have something really serious about him, mustn't he? I thought he was very good towards the tail end of last season, but I'm not sure I could tell you exactly what type of player he is yet. But I'm really interested to see what he looks like in the flesh.
Yeah, I thought we'd discuss the strikers a bit more in the next question, but yeah, I think he'd be quite interesting. I'm most excited. I'm looking forward to see Dabo have a full season.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Yeah,
I felt he didn't really get the chance to do himself justice in the Championship last season, and I think it's one of those ones where we all know that he's good enough, but there are lingering question marks just because he purely just didn't get the games, he didn't get the flow last season. But yeah, Bright is Bright. I mean, also be interesting to see O'Hare's development. I think as much as he was roundly praised and rightly last season, I think this is a season where I think he needs to take it to the next level, and he's got to be getting more goals. He's got to be getting more. And when I say assists, I don't mean the last person to pass it to Maradona on the halfway line. I mean actual game-changing assists. So I think there's quite a few players in our team who are 23, 24. Another player we've gone to top goal scorers is Tyler Walker. It's a big season for him. Last season, his season didn't really ever get going. I think he was still our top goal scorer, but you just felt that was more by default than actually sort of him earning it. he's another player who gone. It's like, who do people think is going to be top goal scorer? I'm going to be interested how Walker gets into the team, because at the moment it seems the preference is to go for Waghorn and young Master Victor. Oh, I agree. I don't really know what he is, but it's like, who do people think is going to be top goal scorer?
We talked about this yesterday, but then I just realised that people aren't privy to all of our conversations. The Wagon, I think, because I think that's the player that I expect to play up front the most, and I think he'll score 11 goals in a team that doesn't score a massive amount of goals. And I think we'll probably have most of the strikers will all score roughly about the same. They'll all score sort of between 8 and 11. But the Wagon will play the most games.
He had a really I wasn't never convinced he was that much of a goal scorer, but he had 3 seasons, didn't he, where he scored a good amount of goals. One of them was in the Scottish Championship with Rangers, where he got like 28, which I assume Rangers got 150 goals that season, so everyone got about 28. He then did all right for them in the Premiership, and then he had a good season. Was it at Ipswich?
Yeah.
But they were like 3 seasons.
Derby paid $5 million for him. Remember when?
Oh yeah, I didn't realise he'd
paid
been at
for him.
Wigan either. My knowledge of Martin Waghorn has been greatly increased over the last 24 hours of actually doing a bit of research into him. But I never thought he was one of those players I always thought was about a 5 to an 8 goal a season player, but he had actually scored sort of numerous goals at certain times. But also, from what I got the feeling that Derby, they didn't really play him as a striker towards the end. They sort of played him on the right hand side of a front three, or again, could be wrong, but I never really saw him as a sort of number 9, but I suppose that's what we brought him in to do.
Yeah. Final questions?
And then last question is, where do people expect us to finish?
Dom?
Well, saying as I have put it in print, well, online print anyway, I have said 18th. That seems just about right to me.
I saw someone say 21st, and when I did the counting on my fingers and realised that was one place above the relegation zone, I sort of thought, yeah, that feels fair enough.
Huddersfield are a basket case, Derby are a basket case, and there's one other team who will be shit. Someone like Blackpool.
Well, even Blackburn. I think Blackpool will probably be all right, won't they?
Blackburn could be, especially if they lose Adam Armstrong. Blackburn could be in deep trouble.
Because I think Mowbray will Mowbray them. And I also wouldn't trust Peterborough, because Peterborough are Peterborough. And even Hull, you never know, do you?
No, I think there are enough teams who are... Isn't it sort of 5 teams have yet to make a signing or something?
Mm.
Like, I said, this season isn't ready. No one's ready for this season.
No.
Like, no one's sorted themselves out. So I think we'll be fine. The only other question I'll ask, I think it was a good one, was just on this same aspect, was what is our... Neil Beasley basically said, last season was all about survival. What's this season? What's the aim for this season? Is just being 21st acceptable, or should we be pushing for higher?
I think it is, because I think if anything, our budget's gone backwards, which I think a lot of teams will have done, which makes us relative. But even still, is that I think we're a club still waiting to properly take steps forward, and I think consolidating again is probably a big part of that. I think if you stay in the Championship 2 seasons in a row, I think it becomes exponentially less likely to be relegated from it over and over again. Do you know what I mean? Is what it is. I don't think there's not many teams I don't think stay 2 and then go straight back down. I think you start to establish yourself at that point, don't you? Whereas I think you could do 1 and then go down. So I'd be fairly happy with maintaining what we did last season. If we finished 16th again this season, I'd be over the moon. Dom, thoughts?
Yeah, I think the goal would be stay up, but if we could make it a little bit more comfortable than it was at times last season, that would be great. It would be interesting to see what it would be like in front of fans and going through periods like we did last season, where we didn't score for like 5 games, or we were really looking like heading towards a draft. I wonder what kind of pressure that creates and how that sort of impacts on what Robbins and the players do. I think if we can avoid really sort of just getting into any situation where it's looking like we could get sucked into the drop, a little bit like Luton last season, where they sort of got off to a decent start and then from that point just picked up a few wins here and there, never really worrying about the drop, and then at the end of the season they won a few more games and head to mid-table. That would be great. I'm not sure how realistic it is for us, but I think the goal is just staying up a little bit more comfortably.
Paul?
Yeah, as I said, I think Derby are obviously in deep turmoil. Huddersfield are, they're not great. Blackburn aren't great. I think, as I said last season, I think we're in that lucky position where we've got a very competent management team. We have quite a bit of strength in depth. I know that sounds a bit odd, but we're talking about John Shipley, Jamie Allen earlier. We can have quite a few injuries before we really get down to the untried and untested, which is unlike a lot of teams. A lot of teams, I think, are closer to the breadline than we are in terms of squad size, which is one of the good things we haven't really let players go. We do have sort of a solid professional. We have two solid professionals in virtually every position, so we should be okay. I think one of the big things will be how much COVID does affect teams. Obviously, Hyam and Rose have missed quite a bit of pre-season. We do seem a little bit undercooked going into the Forest game, where there seems quite a few players who haven't really had the opportunity to play much. So it'd be interesting to see how long it takes us to get to our sort of up to full speed. But as I said, I think every team is like that. As Harry Kane's still in Florida and Spurs start their season a week on Saturday or whatever. So, it's throughout the whole of English football. There are lots of teams who don't really know who's going to be playing for them by the end of August. We've still got 27 days this transfer window. I can see a lot of movement. And also, there's people like Max Biami who still haven't got clubs. I'm not saying that Max Biami is amazing, should have a club.
Get him back.
But what I mean is, I think there are a lot of professional footballers out there who have yet to sign for anyone, and not shit players who could do a job at clubs. So it will be very interesting to see what happens between now and the end of August. I think you want to get off to a flying start because teams might not get going until the middle of September. But I think we'll be fine. Just nice to have a bit of a cup run, because it brings in the money, and I think that's what it's all about now, isn't it?
Yeah, onwards and upwards. It's nice, isn't it?
Yeah, I have no great fear. It's sort of I don't see anyone coming in to poach Robbins as well. As good as he's done a job at Cov, I think there are more fashionable managers that people would probably take before him.
That's the word I was going to use. Yeah, he's pleasingly unfashionable, isn't he? And as well, there's the thing from both sides, where I think clubs will look at the fact that his record elsewhere hasn't exactly been amazing, and I also think that he will look at the fact that his record elsewhere hasn't been amazing. And there's not many places where you could be as a manager where you've got a job almost for life. You'd have to think he would have to really struggle before anybody wanted him gone, wouldn't he?
Yeah, I mean, I can't. Is this his fourth pre-season? Like, I can't remember the last manager we had who got to this many pre-seasons. We're talking. Did Coleman do this? No, Coleman only did 3. I mean, he's been here. I mean, he's outlasted like most of our managers going back to Strachan now, hasn't he?
We would have normally have had 9 managers in this time, wouldn't we?
Like Strachan did 96 to 2001. And then since then, we've had a manager, every 18 months?
If not shorter.
Yeah. So
we had 4 in the year that we went down to League 2.
Yes. So, I think Robbins, to an extent, is as safe as you could possibly be at a club like Cov. So the only other thing I would say before we go, obviously, probably should just mention that the passing of George Curtis, who was obviously a massive part of the club, and obviously one of the greatest people to ever be associated with us, both as a player as a manager. And unfortunately, players, legends pass on, but I think he was someone who was amazing for us, and obviously his sort of association with the '87 Cup final team and everything he did he played in all 4 divisions for us. He got promoted from like League 3 up into the what was the Premier League, League 1. So just that was obviously very sad news during the summer.
Absolutely. Any final thoughts before we wrap things up?
No.
I think what we will maybe do, if you have prepared it, Dom. I mean, I'm sort of just assuming that you know these things. Is maybe doing 60 seconds of preview on Notts Forest if you've got an idea of that.
Yeah. So I think the main thing Paul mentioned, sort of how our pre-season has been disrupted. Nottingham Forest's last pre-season friendly was 2 weeks ago. I think had to cancel 2 pre-season friendlies because of a COVID outbreak. They look to be going into this game without any natural senior fullbacks, which would be quite interesting. Although it would be more interesting if they were up against a team that were playing with wingers, which we don't. It's going to be interesting test. Nottingham Forest haven't really signed anyone this summer. They signed a backup goalkeeper. Otherwise, it's almost as you were, apart from their shed, a lot of dead wood, and they've got 2 pretty exciting youngsters in Brennan Johnson, who was excellent at Lincoln last season, who will probably be playing just behind the striker as an attacking midfielder, and they've also got Alex Myton, who is an absolutely rapid winger, and that is going to be a lot of where their excitement comes from. Probably missing a midfielder who can properly pass it out. So it could be quite a stodgy game, considering that they are managed by Chris Houghton. It's going to be an interesting contest. I think both teams will be feeling that they're sort of entering it undercooked. But I wonder whether Forest might be feeling with sort of a younger, fresher team, whether they might just be at the start of something. And obviously, they're going to bring a lot of away fans to the Ricoh. It's going to be quite a tough game, I think.
We're looking forward to it.
I would be looking forward to it more if it wasn't like at 4:30 on a Sunday afternoon. That took a lot of the fun out of it.
I'd be looking forward to a lot more to it if I had a ticket. They sent everyone an email. Just send anyone a fucking e-ticket. Like, this is the 21st century. I don't even take a wallet with me anymore because I can pay on my phone. It's like, just send me a ticket I can show on my phone, and don't even send me a season ticket. Just send me a fucking link that I can go up to with my phone and log in on every home game. Anyway, that's me moaning. But I'm looking forward to it because I haven't been to a game for 18 months or 20 months or whatever it is now.
Any news on the away shirt, by the way, Paul?
Well, the only reason I wanted to know the away shirt is because I'm not a massive fan of the new home one. It might look nicer. I haven't seen it in life, and real life. I bought it for the one daughter, but it's £5 post and packaging. So the away shirt was really nice.
Yeah.
And the other kid other daughter wanted the away shirt. So I've got to buy that again. If I don't live anywhere near Cov, if I want to get it sent, it's another £5. But also, it's like, just release the fucking away shirt. I don't understand what the issue is. Like, surely you've known what the away shirt was going to be months ago. But also, you've known we were back at the Ricoh about 3 months. So why the hell haven't you sorted season tickets out? But these are all minor quibbles.
Actually, that's a rhetorical question that they've answered, isn't it?
I sort of half read it, and it was just like, well,
I think it was a perfectly reasonable explanation, quite frankly. I think you're the problem.
Soft. But no, I'm looking forward to it. It'd be nicer if you were going, Joey, obviously.
Yeah, it would be nice. Yeah.
It'd be nice if I could take the kids, but they've decided to go to a birthday party instead. But it would just be nice to see people I haven't seen for a long time, and nice to see people like Hammer in the flesh, which obviously I've never seen. I think it's going to be quite I don't know what the weather's going to be like. I think if it's a hot day, I think it could be a very slow, methodical game of football. But sometimes the football isn't. Doesn't have to be entertaining. It just has to be engaging, doesn't it? And Forest, I think, will come for a draw. I think they'll be happy for a draw to try and nick it on the counter. So.
Well, we've got that. Well, football's back. That's
Football's back.
Good. Right. Okay. Thank you, Paul.
That's right.
Thank you, Dom.
Cheers.
We're out of here. Good to be back, and we'll speak to you next week. Bye.